So good afternoon, everyone. This is Audrey Russo, and I'm thrilled to be here. I'm president and CEO of the Pittsburgh Technology Council, as well as an organization called 40 by 80. That's the wholly owned subsidiary of the Tech Council, and it's our nonprofit arm, where we focus on all things education and entrepreneurial. So we're thrilled today to have our guests. I'll introduce them formally in a moment. But before we get started, I want to give a big shout out, as I do each and every day, to Huntington Bank for all that they do for our region, for the belief that they've had in us as we've pivoted, like all of you have during COVID, and the experiments that they take chances on with us. And that's all about storytelling, shining the light on the region while we're providing support and services to companies all shapes and sizes across the innovation ecosystem. So thank you to Huntington Bank. And if you don't know them, you really do need to get to know them. So we have muted your microphones, and we do that on purpose, but that doesn't mean that we don't want to hear from you. This is definitely conversational in nature, and we just don't want to hear anything in the background, and we want to hear our guests clearly. Additionally, Jonathan Kirsting's with us, as he is each and every day. And if you don't know about the work that he leads for us, it's all around storytelling, marketing, media. We have a magazine, we do radio shows, we do podcasts. Everything that we do is focused on making sure Pittsburgh is not only an amazing place to be, but that people know all the amazing stories of the people who are leading these companies and working inside of them. So we have a chat. As I've mentioned, we want this to be conversational, and you can definitely ask our guests questions. We'll try to make sure that we have enough time. And if we don't have enough time, to tell you the truth, we will make sure that we get information to Rhonda and Robert. So on that note, we are excited to be hosting the two guests from the Institute for Entrepreneurial Excellence, and that is Robert Stein. I call him Bob, but I guess that's his full name, right? I'm going to call you Bob today. And
okay, sounds good.
He's the executive director, and Rhonda Carson Leach, she's director of entrepreneurial, the fellows class, and the urban and community entrepreneurial program. And so we're excited to hear from both of them. So I'm pretty thrilled about that. Now, I haven't seen them in forever, as we talked before we went live, and we're excited about the opportunities as we move ahead to think about when we all see each other in real life. So let's bring them to the forefront. And I want to say formally, good afternoon, Robert and Rhonda. Now I'm going to call you Robert, so it's probably going to go back and forth. So how are you both? How are you both doing?
We're doing great. And Audrey, as I was telling your team earlier, you know, it's amazing that you've been doing this for as long as you have. And you know, also thanks again to our friends at Huntington Bank for supporting it. What a great series that you've been promoting.
Yeah, they're pretty amazing. So thank you for that. And I know that they also support your program. So it's great to have that kind of partnership.
Definitely.
So let's talk about this. Let's get to know each of you and learn a little bit more about your background. So can I start with Rhonda?
Sure. Well, as you mentioned, I am senior program director with the Institute, and I've actually been with the University of Pittsburgh 11, almost 12 years. And my background really in the IEE was through the SBDC, through the Small Business Development Center, of which I was a consultant at the time, later became a contractor, really joined forces on a full-time basis, and then sort of came up the ranks a little bit in the directorship positions. And of course, I lead 3 of those centers right now. I love them all, but I have to say a true passion of mine is really my urban area, honestly, working with those businesses from the low and moderate income communities.
Well, are you a native Pittsburgher?
I am born and raised, went to school, undergraduate to Western New England College, which is now Western New England University, Springfield, Massachusetts. Actually, my siblings all went to New England schools. And here's the funny story. My mother was an administrator at the University of Pittsburgh, and I didn't go to Pitt undergrad. Figured that one out. Right? Could have saved some money, but yeah, I am a native Pittsburgher.
You could have saved some money, that's for sure. That's for sure. It's funny what we do when we're teenagers, right?
Yes.
That's so great. All right, well, thank you so much. So let's bring Bob up. Hi, Bob.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for joining us today. Give us a little bit about your background. You've been at the Institute for a while, but let's just let's just set the stage for your background.
Yeah. So I'm born and raised from Western Pennsylvania, from Monongahela down in the Mon Valley, where Joe Montana, that's our claim to fame down there, where he went to school, Ringgold. Wow. And I am an entrepreneur at heart. I started a business when I was 13 years old, and come from a family business as well. So it's in my blood, and I've started working with the university in 2005. So I'm dating myself now a little bit.
Not really. It's okay. Age is just a number. But
you
you still have family here. So you were raised in the Monongahela area?
Yeah.
And then
born and raised, went to Ringgold.
Okay, excellent. So here, how long have you been over at Pitt?
Yeah, so maybe 16 years now. And you know, I have a special love for the Tech Council because my background is in IT. So you know, I love seeing your programming and the content because you know, that's right up my alley, helping businesses with their IT issues.
So what does that mean? Does that mean that when we get a new computer, we can call you to like
a new computer, a new CIO, your email's not working,
okay,
you need a new ERP, you know, I'll help any business in need.
Okay, well, you know, that's good to know. So everyone, Jonathan put that in the chat. We can give them Bob's cell phone number just in case they need any kind of IT.
Absolutely. I'll send an invoice right away as well.
Oh, that hurt.
Are we recording this? Is this being recorded?
Oh, it's being recorded, all right.
Okay, so Bob, I'm going to go back to you for a second, then I'm going to go jump to Rhonda, but let's just talk about the history of the Institute. You know, what do you do? What's the background? How you actually fit into the University of Pittsburgh?
Absolutely. So we're a part of Pitt that works with the business community, and our mission is economic development. We help businesses grow. So we want, at the end of the day, we want to help businesses add jobs and add investment, become more profitable, and we also want to help the number of startups in the region. So we really want to help those economic metrics grow.
Okay.
We work with all sizes of businesses, from startups that start up pizza shops in maybe an underserved area, all the way up to very large family businesses. We generally provide education, consulting, and networking services.
And so can anyone join that meets any of that criteria and participate in your program?
Yeah, we want to be, except for technology help, we want to be the one-stop shop for businesses in Pittsburgh. And if they need, you know, a loan, we'll help a lot of people get loan, or if they need professional development for their employees, we'll help there, or if they need equipment. You know, a lot of the services are at no cost because they're federal and state funded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I imagine, and we'll get into this in a little bit, I know that you've been really busy over the last 16 months, and you've had your hands in a lot of areas there in terms of helping companies.
Yeah.
So really, what's really interesting is about our region, we have like a pretty strong bench strength of family businesses that are mid-size, I would say. And the question is, do you help them with succession planning?
Yeah, we'll help them with their family meetings or succession planning, or sometimes we just help them get along with each other and make sure that they don't kill each other. But Pittsburgh in Western Pennsylvania has a surprisingly large amount of family businesses, you know, including, you know, the Steelers and Giant Eagle and all, you know,
right.
all the big ones that we know of, but
right.
many more that are working behind the scenes in our region.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good point. Totally. How could I forget the Steelers and Giant Eagle and that being such a, you know, legendary? So, you know, let's skip to Rhonda. I mean, let's just shift over to Rhonda really quick. I want to get back to you in a second. So Rhonda, you're doing some really important work, specifically in Homewood. You've done work for a long time, as we just heard. But let's sort of focus on what you're doing right now in Homewood and how that fits into the Institute.
Yes, most definitely. So under our urban and community entrepreneurship program, we have a program that's dedicated for those entrepreneurs who are trying to grow their companies. Now, if you want to start a business, really, you can go to the Small Business Development Center, and that's great. But we have just a sole focus of working with our, again, minority clientele who are in low to moderate incomes, really inner city businesses who are looking for an opportunity, right? As Bob says, our tagline, to start, grow, and prosper. And so in the growth phase, we help them to really look beyond working in their business, but helping them to really work on the business. And so we do that by, again, providing, education, networking, and consulting. Specifically, though, with this program that we're doing in Homewood, and that's a core target area of ours, our program is called the Community Power to Prosper. CP2P.
Okay,
And
we'll
so,
put
we
that in the
love
link.
acronyms. And so that Community Power to Prosper, it is a 6-month certificate program that helps the business owner really take a deeper dive into all those tenets, right, that help them be successful. The leadership, the HR, the marketing, right, the finance, all of those areas, we help the business owner to really achieve some success. And so again, 6 months. Right now we are recruiting for our 15th cohort. So, cohorts, Audrey, what those are, they start and end together. We've had 15 successful ones, well, 14. This will be our 15th. And so June 23rd, we hope to launch our 15th cohort
Nice.
for Community Power to Prosper in Homewood at the Community Engagement Center.
So let's talk a little bit. That's a lot of cohorts, and that's probably have some really good data there. Can you talk about the kinds of companies? Is there any kind of profile that we should know about in terms of eligibility and being considered into these cohorts?
Well, so I'll say, let me tell you what the requirements are to be in the program. First of all, willingness to want to commit to 6 months. Let's start with that first. Number two,
Right.
The business, again, if we're looking at revenues, we can say, yes, we'd love for them to come in at $200,000-$300,000. That's not always the case, right? They didn't just start yesterday, but they may be doing $40,000, $50,000, $100,000 in business. So we get them right there, right? So it's the commitment. It's their willingness to really, as I say, go hard, right? Honestly, go in this now. If you're not serious about it, don't apply, because we're going to take you through 6 months and beyond. And we're going to be a connector for you after that as well.
So any patterns over the years, over the cohorts, any kinds of businesses sort of, that maybe, that you want to share? Are there anything? Are they service businesses? Are they tech businesses? Are they?
I was just going to say, Audrey, I have to be honest about this. I believe the majority has really been service-based businesses. And if you just even from research, we know that a lot of the minority businesses starting off really kind of start more in a service-based area, right? We're seeing a few kind of early one manufacturing type, not full-blown. Tech, not too many, but we've had a couple, right, who really want to make their mark in that industry. But I would say 85% service-based businesses, and it runs a gamut.
And that's really great. I'm glad to hear that, because that's an easy entry and you really can build upon your own individual competencies.
Yes.
And so people really tend to know the subject and the domain. And I bet you that they really gain a lot out of this program. And actually, as I'm thinking about this, I think of someone who I want to introduce into this cohort. So is there any other requirements? Does it have to be, do you have to live in Homewood?
No, you don't have to live in Homewood. No, you don't.
Live anywhere? You can live anywhere?
You can live anywhere. You really can. Now, as long as you can travel to Homewood, to our community engagement center, it's fine. Again, I think the focus is to try to get businesses around that area who really need that assistance. But again, we will take them anywhere, right? The outer
Audrey,
of the city.
One related thing that we're doing with the minority-owned companies is we partnered with UPMC and UPMC Health Plan to get minority-owned suppliers and contractors into their network, its supply chain. And so that's been very successful. We're doing that for the entire state of Pennsylvania. And so any minority-owned company that wants to work with UPMC technology, business or not, they should contact us to get in that training as well.
And Audrey, to piggyback off of Bob, that becomes a feeder for us as well.
That's great. And we have had on our show a good relationship with the UPMC, procurement leadership there. So, and minority suppliers. So that's great. I like to see when it all gets knit together.
That's when the magic happens.
Right. So we'll make sure that we get that in the chat so people, the link, so people can make sure they have access and share. So now I'm going to flip over to Bob again. So during COVID, you stepped up. You really stepped up to help these small and family-owned businesses. I can only imagine what, was on your plate each and every day. Can you talk about Save Our Stages and then your work on the Restaurant Revitalization Act?
Absolutely. So, last year was as crazy it was for everyone. It was especially crazy for the small businesses. I think in March of last year, we called a couple hundred businesses just to making sure of what kind of assistance that they needed. First, it was the PPP, that came out, and then there was a second PPP for their employees, for their payroll assistance. Then there was emergency loans from the SBA that came out. There was a round 1 and 2. And a lot of businesses received all of that assistance, and then they still needed help. And that's especially with this Restaurant Revitalization Fund that was recently released.
Right.
And then the Save Our Stages businesses. Save Our Stages is for the entertainment industry, and the Restaurant Revitalization was a tremendous success. However, they ran out of money in less than a month. I think almost $30 billion they ran out. And industry is saying right now they really need, 75 billion to give the money that they needed for the restaurants.
Wow. How much did our region take advantage of that? Do you have any sense of that?
They didn't release data yet on how many from Pennsylvania or whatever applied, but from what we hear on the street, many of the restaurants applied. Now they haven't heard yet if they've got funded yet or not. I know a couple people got turned away because they ran out of money. So I hope they refund that that group. That
was state money, right?
No, that was federal money.
That was federal money.
There was a little bit of state money for certain things, but that was much smaller amounts, and that's basically all gone.
Wow. And so I worry about the restaurant community and all that they've been through. I even saw this morning that the Carlton is closing down after 37 years. And, I really worry because I think that's been just such an important piece of the rebirth of Pittsburgh. And to see.
It's going to be tough. We'll see how, May 31st, restaurants in Pennsylvania go to 100% capacity. And, that's a time for all of us to go and visit those restaurants and support them, because it's going to be it's going to be a make it or break it time for these folks.
They've been creative. And the other thing that we're hearing is really trying to help in terms of service staff, of getting their teams back.
Yeah, that's across the board in restaurants and manufacturers and service-based businesses alike. They can't find people who want to go to work and help them. And that's a problem. Mm-hmm. But even though they're allowed to be at 100% capacity, they may not be able to be at 100% capacity.
Yeah, I think, we'll see. So you're right. After the 31st of this month, we'll probably be able to get a better sense. So thank you for your work in that arena, because that really matters to our ecosystem, but whether it's tech or innovation, but that really matters. So if people want help right now in terms of any of those areas, should they reach out to?
Yeah, they can still reach out. Entrepreneur.pitt.edu. Our phone number is listed on the website, and we'll put it in the chat as well. Most of those services for the grants are no cost. Okay. And so we can help them, and we can, if they've already received a grant, we can help make sure that they're spending the money according to how it was supposed to be released. And with the reporting requirements, we can help them figure that out. as well. I would I encourage any business owner that needs any kind of help like that, they should reach out to us.
And do you see anything coming around the bend in terms of Washington to replenish any of these efforts, whether it's PPP or even the EIDL? But
yeah, Washington's slow, and things take time. So I think they're just starting now to talk about what other assistance is out there. There's another industry. I was just talking to a couple of business owners in the nursing home industry and yesterday, and they're especially hard hit, and they can't close. Our loved ones are in those facilities. So it's just not the obvious industries that need assistance. There are other ones as well.
Well, we've been involved as well early on with the nursing home community and everything that occurred. But let's face it, there have been some that actually have closed and haven't been able to address the needs of the community. So appreciate that. Appreciate you calling attention to that as well. So Rhonda, what can you talk about some of the biggest challenges, and then we'll go back to Bob on this as well. What are the biggest challenges that are impacting small businesses in the community and the work that you're doing? You mentioned a few things one is you got to really be ready to dive in, right? If you're going to be in your cohort, you got to be ready to dive in, and it is a lot of work. Entrepreneurship is not for the faint-hearted. Well, what are you seeing in terms of the biggest challenges, and what can we do to help you? Might there be a call to help?
Well, Audrey, so I'm always known for acronyms and just different adages, and I always say that my core group in the urban space need to be called, compelled, and committed. The 3 C's, very important. Be committed to what they're doing, and the love where compels them to continue going forward. So being called, compelled, and committed. And I think they truly have to understand that you have to work on the business. You have to work on it. I know you're so busy working in that business, right? Like the little squirrel, just going, but you have to work on this infrastructure. You have to work on everything else around it. And so I think some of the challenges that I see, funding still becomes a challenge, right? Access, right, to getting money. And we can drill down on that just even from, again, some credit issues, right? Maybe the capacity, they think they can get the money, but know that they really don't have the staff to really execute that kind of work. So I see challenges like that, really, the financing, and even, so we help them with a business plan, but you have to be focused and willing to want to do the work to put the information in. We're not going to write it for you. It's your business plan. We want you to own it. And so again, those areas, sometimes I see some challenges that it's not a focus really, but we can help them. We can help overcome, for the most part, all of those challenges. Now on a funding end, we can't fund them per se, but we can help them with their financial analysis, right? To get ready to get to the bank.
Right.
So I tell them they just need to really, they need to be their own ROIs. They need to really have their own return on investment, which is themselves.
Okay. So Bob, are you seeing any other challenges?
I mean, access to capital is,
Right.
really important. And especially with minority-owned businesses. And I'll just give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
We had, at the end of June last year, as the first PPP loan, was coming to its end, it was like a big sigh of relief. It was like, finally, everybody in Pittsburgh that needed a PPP loan has got one. And then I met this African-American gentleman who owned a commercial company, and he said, "What PPP loan?" And I was really surprised that there's still, especially for minority-owned companies, there's still, we assume that that has trickled down to everybody, but it really hasn't. I mean, there's still disparities out there, especially with these programs that these minority business owners in these underserved areas, they need additional assistance to access, and so that's part of our goal, is to help level the playing field and get those people what they need to succeed.
And so what can we do? That's really sort of the rhetorical question, is what can we do? A, refer people to you, number one.
Yeah, I mean, of course, but I mean, you're a great community partner, and I think, we just need to, on both sides, we need to build awareness of all of our services, because at the end of the day, tech company, non-tech company, neither your organization or my organization will ever let a business fail. And I just think that people need to have awareness that they are not only our two groups, but great places like Innovation Works and Callus Connection and the Women's Center for Business and all those great organizations here in Pittsburgh that are here and willing and able to help these businesses.
And I think, I'm sorry, go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, go on,
Go
Rhonda.
ahead, Rhonda.
I was going to say, I think, yes, being a connector, right? Being able to refer and help us in that area. But I also believe that the biggest one is identifying companies in which you can purchase from them, in which you can provide, right?
Yeah.
The dollar. So again, you're looking for a caterer, you're looking for a plumber, you're
Right.
looking for an electrician, right? The dollar's green. They can do the work. You have to give them an opportunity.
Yeah.
And so
Instead of
that's where they need it most.
Yeah, instead of going to a big box store, try to purchase it from a small
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
It's interesting, Audrey, a couple years ago, we were ranked like 40 out of 40 for in metropolitan areas for small businesses, and I mean, dead last. And so here, that was a real eye-opening moment for us, that here, we think we're doing great here in Pittsburgh, right? And we're really last in terms of support for small businesses. So I think that awareness and the connecting and hopefully the foundation community and the state and federal government also see that, and they invest more in the small businesses in our region.
Audrey, if I could add one more thing, I think mentorship is so important. Being mentors, right? Because the mentor can lead the mentee into some places and areas that the mentee would not have access to, you see. So again, right, we know that the happenings and the knowledge is in the room, and many of those individuals are not in the room. They're not at the table to be there. And so you take, the mentor connects with a business, right? And we know the wealth that mentors have on a mentee, on someone. So I think that's also another big piece where it can be most helpful.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with you. Buy local, support local, mentor people,
Yes.
and let's let people know that there really are services that can help them, and that they don't need to do it on their own, at least not in the beginning. So,
and Audrey, one thing worth mentioning is the connection between our two organizations, Huntington Bank. I mean, they work with both of our organizations. Huntington has been great in supporting the small businesses.
They have.
Once we get them all buttoned up with their business plan and their financials, we send them over to Huntington, and usually they can get the funding they need from them.
great.
And
That's
so, Huntington is also they have a new initiative on specifically helping minority-owned businesses with smaller loans, micro loans.
Mhm.
Maybe $5,000. But that's just another great example of how, we have a great partner between the two of us that also serves both of our missions.
Great. That's great. Thank you for pointing that out. So as we wrap up, you offer quite a few programs, and hopefully there's a link out there that people can access. Anything major coming up that you want to highlight?
Well, for me, as I said, we are in the process now of recruiting for our 15th cohort for the Community Power to Prosper. It will begin on June 23rd at the Community Engagement Center. That's in Homewood, and it's from 8 a.m. until 10 a.m. We think it's best to have it early in the morning. You can get in, right? Do the business at hand and go on to do with the priority of working the business.
That's great. That's great. Anything else, Bob, that you want to add in terms of some highlights coming up?
I just wanted to mention, we're here for the business owners, and just visit us on the web and reach out to us, and we'll be glad to help however business owner needs. So
All right, well, great. I want to thank you both for being with us. Thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, Audrey.
And thank you, Rhonda, for your long work in entrepreneurism and mentoring and, urban focus. Really appreciate your leadership and hard work there as well. Hopefully we put links out for everyone. If you have questions to reach them, you can reach out to any one of us and we'll make the connection. So again, thanks to Huntington Bank for the partnership and for believing in this organization as well as ours. So Jonathan, is there anything else as we talk about tomorrow? Anything?
The week is not done until 12:30 on a Friday when business as usual has its broadcast. So tomorrow we have Jane Werner from the Children's Museum stopping by. They are reopening their doors on June the 12th. We're all very pumped about that. So we're gonna get all the details about what that means and how kids can finally go back and start learning stuff outside of their homes. Should be cool.
And the Children's Museum of Pittsburgh is one of the top children's museums in the world.
Absolutely.
So we're really excited to wrap up the week. So everyone stay safe, enjoy the day. Want to thank all of you. Thank you, Bob, and thank you, Rhonda, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day, everybody.